Oh boy! All right. Hey, welcome to ZEITGUYS. My name is Greg.
My name's Nick.
Nick is begging me not to kiss him.
Please don't kiss me.
Was not on the table, buddy.
Don't kiss me.
Just so you know, I'm a married man, and so is he. To other people, should clarify that.
I'm sorry. I thought we shared a wife. We're what is it? Brother husbands.
Brother husbands.
We're husbands.
Oh man, actually, you know, I think that might. And I mean, I don't know what kind of like life sister wives live, but I feel like brother husbands would get along better than sister wives would. Like if it were reversed, you know, I think because there's an element of bromance between them, you know.
I don't remember what show it was on. I watched a documentary about that situation.
Wait, that really happens?
Yes, it wasn't based in religion or anything. I think if that were to happen, it would probably be the farthest thing from religion.
Yeah, right.
Except I know Sister Wives is based in religion.
Yeah, it's based on fundamental LDS church.
Yes, and I know the one I watched was like basically fundamental atheism. I mean, not atheism.
Wait, it's fundamental atheism. Like, we're going to take atheism back to our roots. Okay.
All hail our praise be nothing.
Like, hey,
actually,
guys,
praise be nothing is more Buddhism, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I'm just picturing like an atheist church meeting, and like, guys, you know, we've strayed too far from our roots of atheism.
We care about too much.
We believe in too much now. We need to just strip it back down, you know, back to basics.
What about science? Stop believing in it.
Oh boy. Okay.
No science, no Jesus.
Yeah, none of that. Get that out of here. So wait, but like you said, there was a documentary about brother husbands?
In a way, yeah. Well, not in a way that they were. I don't think they weren't married. They were living together and they shared the same woman partner.
Ah. So they were a throuple though.
They were a throuple. They all lived together. That's a fun word to say.
Throuple. It is fun, isn't it?
Throuple from another mupple.
That sounds like there's going to be like in the distant future, there's going to be a Muppets episode explaining what a throuple is to young children,
or just a character named Throuple. I'm Throuple,
and it'll have like 3 heads, and they'll all make out with each other, and
it'll be like, I am Throuple. We are all married. We are one. We are legion.
Freaky.
But yeah, they just all live together. I can't remember exactly what. I don't remember how they met or whatever. I think it was the guy that introduced the girl to the concept. Because I think the guys were also like into each other as well. So they were like all bisexual. Yeah. I think. I mean, I could be wrong.
That probably happens. I don't think it happens when there's like 5 guys and 1 woman. Like, I find like, that unlikely.
I know they admitted to all like having threesomes, but not constantly. But like whenever they were intimate, like they would, sometimes it was all 3 of them, and then they each had like a schedule. Like sometimes like one of them would be like that week's partner. The next
time, an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's like, can you cover my shift?
Can you cover my shift? Hey man, I gotta go on vacation. Can you just be in this relationship for a moment?
Can someone go bone Jessica this week?
Right. He's like putting it out to like the house-wide email, you know,
like, man, hey, I thought we were gonna bone this week.
Anybody free this weekend to cover my shift? I gotta have surgery.
He's on hot schedules.
Right, I gotta have surgery, and I won't be able to, you know, perform this week. And oh boy, okay. So let me get into
all the thruples out there. I hope you're happy.
All the thruples.
I don't mean that sarcastically. I seriously hope you're happy.
So I'm going to get into this is a new segment. I kind of teased it in the last episode, but it's called Minesweeper, MIND. Just like it's like Minesweeper, you know, where you're trying to clear out all the stuff so you can find out where the mines are, and
we always click that mine first.
That's just the way it goes. Or maybe you don't actually know how to play Minesweeper and you just click random places until you win or lose, and you almost always lose.
I think no one knows how to play Minesweeper.
I think there's a tactic, like the number that shows up shows how many mines are in the vicinity, and you put flags on what you think are mines. Anyway, we're not going to get into that now. I don't even think that game... Does that game still exist?
I'm sure it does.
Probably.
But we're Mac users here.
You're a Mac user. I don't know. Actually, that's not... I have a Mac at home too.
In your home.
Yeah, I have a Mac at home too. It doesn't work. My Mac, I think it was built like to eventually destroy itself because we had a power surge and the Mac was plugged in.
Oh yeah, no, all Macs
and it won't turn on anymore. It just doesn't work.
That happened to me.
So what did you do?
I took it to the Apple Store, paid money for them to fix it.
How much money?
$250.
Oh my! Okay, all right.
And that was
Thanks,
just a
Apple.
monitor. This monitor.
Wow. That's dumb.
We can cut this out.
Yep. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So, Minesweeper is the segment where we bring forth something that's actually just a little nugget of truth. You know, something you may have either not known about before, or maybe you believed something to be true, and in actuality, it isn't. We're just trying to kind of clear that space in your mind where you had some false ideas, and open you up to new things. So, I've got two options here. I can either do a Minesweeper, and I'm going to put this over to you, Nick. Either I could do a Minesweeper about the government, which I could go into. I'm going to do several episodes on the government, I'm sure.
The government.
Or I could do a Minesweeper on the internet and some of the things that have gone around on the internet that are not real.
Ooh. I like government.
You like government? Okay.
Governments were juicy.
Cool. So this is... would you rather hear the one about the end of the world or the one about assassination? Or both?
Let's start with end of the world.
Let's start with the end of the world. Okay.
Very catastrophic.
It is catastrophic indeed. So this is actually true. I want to preface this by saying this information is out there. I don't have a link. I might, if I could find a link, we'll put it in the show notes. But I've read into this. This is true. The government has admitted to it, and they are still in existence to this day. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay.
Thanks for watching or listening to ZEITGUYS. No, actually, no. So basically,
unsubscribe.
And this one. I've one of these I'm going to talk about more than others, just because I've been to this place a lot and had no idea. Essentially,
okay, I am hooked.
During the 1960s, Cold War era, talked about the Cold War in the first episode about Finland and New Zealand. But the Cold War era, the United States government was so convinced that the Russians were going to obliterate us that they actually, and this sounds totally made up. I'm telling you, this is true. I'm going to find a link somehow and put it in the show notes so you guys can see this too. But they hollowed out mountains, certain mountains around the country, and created entire underground civilizations in them for government agencies to exist after nuclear fallout. So essentially they built these little bunkers for themselves, not little, these are big bunkers, for the government to survive the fallout while the rest of us out here would fry. And then once everything is settled, the government, people within the government bunkers would kind of start over again, right? The government sees themselves as so important and so integral to society that should everything be bombed, it's most important not that the citizens survive, but that the government survives. All right. Here's the place that I've been to a lot. Cheyenne Mountain, Colorado Springs.
Hey.
Yeah, I go there a lot. Almost every summer I go to Colorado Springs. My wife has family there. We love it. I've been on top of Cheyenne Mountain many, many times.
I'm sorry. I was going to make a joke because my wife's name is Cheyenne, but carry on.
Oh, have not done that. Just for the record, let the record show.
We're not brother husbands yet.
Yeah, we'll talk to our wives about that.
Well, then what does that make them? Sister wives?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sure. Why not?
We're a big
forple.
Forple.
We're a forple. Oh man, Shelby's gonna listen to this, and I'm gonna get a talking to. Anyway, so if you've been to Cheyenne Mountain, this is just another odd thing. This is a side note, nothing to do with the government. On top of Cheyenne Mountain, there's a shrine to Will Rogers. It's weird, man.
Can you tell me who Will Rogers is?
Yeah, Will Rogers was an actor from many, many years ago. He's most famous for the phrase "I never met a man I didn't like."
Okay.
He was eventually a talk show host as well. So Will Rogers, I'm sure he was a great guy. This guy who knew Will Rogers, once after Will Rogers died in a plane crash, built a shrine to him atop Cheyenne Mountain. It's very tall. The views are fantastic from up there, but it's all just a little unsettling because this guy wasn't related to Will Rogers at all. I don't know if they knew each other that well, but he built him a shrine after he died. Anyway, that's also on Cheyenne Mountain, so kind of a weird place. But apparently there's an entrance somewhere around Cheyenne Mountain, possibly at the back of the zoo. I don't know. There's a zoo on Cheyenne Mountain as well, but
somewhere on a mountain?
Yeah, Cheyenne Mountain Zoo.
I did not know that.
It's a great zoo too. Everyone should check it out if you're ever there. I think it's free to get in, so it's pretty cool. Anyway, somewhere at the base of Cheyenne Mountain or somewhere in Cheyenne Mountain, there's an opening, kind of an entrance that is not very obvious. Nobody really think much of it. You go in that entrance, and inside you'll find an entire cityscape, essentially, like what you would imagine an underground concrete city to look like. And it was designed for people who are part of the government to continue working and living and eating and sleeping while the nuclear fallout takes place. So inside there are restaurants, there are food courts, right? And there are offices for each government agency. So you've got the IRS office, you've got the judicial office, you've got the executive office, obviously, because they have so much power, they would make sure they would survive anything. You even have the postal service.
Really?
And everyone yes, the postal service had passes to these bunkers.
Well, then I got to get a job.
Well, I mean, a lot of the bunkers have been shut down. Some are still in operation, or quote unquote in operation. They're not really using them, but they exist and they're still open. So basically, each government agency has a job to do once the fallout is once it's safe to go out. Once it's not Chernobyl out there, and people would be able to do those jobs. The Postal Service was around because their job was to find out where the survivors were.
The post office?
Yes, because they have extensive data on the whereabouts of like where people live, because they have to deliver all their mail, right? So the Postal Service has all the addresses for all the people in all the states, essentially. And so what they would do is once that goes, they would go out and find these people and see who's still out there. The IRS is there because guess what? Government still wants to tax you, even in case of a nuclear fallout.
Now that's the scariest thing.
It's terrifying. Taxes are debt and taxes, I'm telling you.
The American dream, I'm telling you,
Yep,
taxes,
yep.
debt.
And
Don't worry, we all die.
Right. And this has been talked about a lot. And so basically the only people that were given passes, and this was late 1960s, Cold War. It was all going down, the Cuban Missile Crisis, all that. The people that were given passes were only people that were high-ranking government officials, select people from the Postal Service, as I mentioned, or people who were lucky enough to be hired at the Subway and not Subway, but whatever. It might have been Subway. Subway's old enough, right? Whatever popular restaurants were around at the time that are located inside of these buildings, because people still got to eat, So you might be the lucky one that had a shift that day when the Russians bomb us, and you would be safe, and everyone outside would not. So you'd never see your family again.
See, if this happened nowadays time, it'd be a Chick-fil-A in there because it's God's chicken.
They might have updated. They might have actually put a Chick-fil-A in there because who knows? We might still get bombed. The Russians are still. I mean, history repeats itself. We're kind of at odds with them. We're kind of at odds with North Korea. But
we're at odds with everyone.
With everyone, I know. But the fact remains that these exist. That there are underground bunkers in America's mountains. There are some in the Appalachian Mountains. I just mentioned Cheyenne Mountain. There are probably some in Alaska. I don't know about that, but you can find information on this.
There's other things in Alaska.
True. This is true, and it was the worst part is that the people that were given these passes, there was a Supreme Court justice, right, who refused his pass. The reason being, they gave him a pass, and he said, "Okay, where's the one for my wife?" And they said, "Sorry, she won't be able to come." And he said, "Well, then I'm not going either." He gave the pass back. So the fact of the matter is, they were never planning on saving any citizens except for the ones they needed for their underground bunkers to survive. It was only about those who were currently in the government.
That's terrible.
That was their plan, and they were going to rebuild from the start at that point with no populace except for those who.
What are they going to do? They're going to play matchmaker down there? Have some forples going on?
Probably. I don't know. I did think it was strange that they didn't allow spouses to come.
Yeah, you'd think because if the president's going somewhere, typically the president's family would go too, right?
Yeah.
Not
the
in
president's family probably would have gone. It was just the Supreme Court justice couldn't bring his wife.
Not in that exact situation. I'm just saying, in a normal situation, if they need to go to a bunker, a normal bunker, typically people's families are able to go. I'm guessing. Yeah. Yep.
And that's all I got on that. But that's what's crazy to me is that's real. They've admitted to that, and they're still there.
Is it open to the public?
Oh no, nobody can just walk in there.
But it's there. You can see it. There's photos. There's but the government said this was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are some photos of the entrances. I think the one in the Appalachian Mountains,
like Fallout, pretty much.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
The game.
Yeah. I think there's a photo because I remember the article I first read about it. A guy actually had some photos of somewhere in Tennessee. So I guess the Appalachian Mountains, there's a bunker there, and he happened to come across it. And it's still it's locked up. You can't just waltz in there, but it's there.
That's really.
Yeah.
disturbing, but cool. I'd want to check it out.
It's interesting, right? And you know what's funny? That's not the scary one. Of my two government stories, that one's not the scary one.
Let's keep this the government theme. Let's keep it going.
Let's go. I've got the other one. So I told you that the other one was about assassinations, right?
Okay.
All right. This is the single scariest thing, and this is me being totally honest. I've read a lot of like spooky things that the government does. This is the single scariest thing for me to know because of the implications, right? So
this is true?
This is true. This is this was a conspiracy theory for a long time. Nobody, they were like, no, it's not true.
The bullet curved.
Sure, that doesn't work. But until a 1975 congressional hearing revealed that the theory was correct. What is the theory? Take a guess. I just want you to take a guess at what you think it might be.
Can I have, if it's about assassinations, let me guess. Is it about assassination attempt or a successful assassination?
I'm willing to bet successful.
Okay, so there's only is it involving?
I mean, it's not just one assassination. I'll say that.
Okay, is it specifically about presidents or?
It's about the CIA.
I feel like I might know what it is. Is it recent?
No, 1975 is when they were outed.
Missed the date.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, you're not going to get it. It's fine. I wouldn't have gotten it either. So, in 1975, a congressional hearing revealed, and you can find the actual notes in the Library of Congress, okay? So, I'm not making this stuff up, that the CIA had numerous top secret weapons, including, and this is the scary part, a heart attack gun.
I did hear about this.
Did you?
Yes.
So basically, they denied this for a long time. It was a conspiracy theory for a long time. But the CIA developed a gun that shoots a dart, right? Very, very small dart. A dart that disintegrates on impact, leaves no residual, basically everything that goes into this dart denatures within an hour. So unless the autopsy is performed within an hour, leaves no trace.
Where did I hear about this?
And the dart is small enough that when it strikes someone, it feels no more than a mosquito bite. It's almost painless, right? And the dart, it also disintegrates on impact because that's the CIA, right? Cover their tracks. What it does, it injects a certain toxin that causes, not immediately, but once it gets through the bloodstream, causes the victim to have a heart attack. And any autopsy would reveal that this person had a heart attack of natural causes. They would see no foul play in anyone who was ever hit with this gun.
Okay,
now let me just think. I mean, I want you all to think about those times when someone that may have had some information that the government didn't want them to know died mysteriously of a heart attack. Young people, maybe someone in their 30s, 20s, or people in their 40s that were very fit, would die of a heart attack. And you think, oh, well, that's a shame.
Because it's scary to think about because heart disease and stuff is the number one disease killer in the country. So how many of those are actually just people, or is it just population control? Maybe?
I think it's mainly because it's the CIA. I think it's mainly used for people that they want to keep quiet and people they want to get rid of under the radar.
So they admitted this?
They admitted that they have the gun. They haven't admitted how they used it, but I don't think it's not a very long line to connect those dots. You know what I mean?
Why would they admit that? What made them admit that?
So what happened was that Congress, in 1975, the Congress actually investigated the CIA out of concern because it wasn't actually to find out about the heart attack gun. They didn't know about that, but it was that former President Nixon may have used the CIA as an abuse of his powers, right? So Nixon had resigned from office the previous year after the Watergate scandal. Everybody knows about that. But the hearing was just to investigate the CIA to see what had happened during Nixon's administration. One of those things that they ended up uncovering in that congressional hearing was that they have an assassination weapon known as the heart attack gun.
See, And now I'm thinking like you and coming up with my own little conspiracy theory to go off of this. What if the government has made heart attacks and everything the most popular, well, not the most popular, but the most common.
Unpopular. Like, man, that sounds really great. I want to die of a heart attack.
But, well, I've got a gun for that.
Yeah.
And that's weird to think about that. That's a real thing.
It's a real thing. And that's what's so scary is because like any number of these cases where, people who have had heart attacks mysteriously, maybe they just had a heart attack. Maybe. I mean, there's no way to trace it. There's no way to know. Maybe it was the heart attack gun.
Well, why wouldn't they just make or push enough people or push it enough that heart attacks are like the number one cause of like disease death? So whenever someone does die of a heart attack, it's not uncommon. So you're right. If people were not as common to die of heart attacks, then if someone were to do that, it'd stand out. But the fact that it can happen to literally anyone at any time, who's to say it isn't them shooting a gun at you or just dying of a heart attack? Because people be like, oh, he died of a heart attack. It's like, well, why? It's like, I don't know. Yeah,
you're absolutely right.
That's terrifying.
And I haven't found a ton of examples here, but I found one example here. This is from Reuters. Reuters. I don't know.
I don't know.
The very, very well-known trusted news site. So a Colombian coroner says that the Odebrecht whistleblower, this is again 2018, but there was a Brazilian, basically, just backing up, there was construction or not construction. Yes, construction. There was corruption at a construction firm in Brazil called Odebrecht, right? And this guy was a key witness for their trial of corruption, and his name was Jorge Enrique Pizano. And apparently the coroner found that he died of a heart attack. And that's interesting just considering the timing. He basically was going in and he was, trying to get some information on them to prove foul play in a court of law because his son, Alejandro, had died from cyanide poisoning 2 days. Or I'm sorry, no, he died from 2 days. Let me start over. I'm sorry.
He died from 2 days.
Ah, man, I'm all over the place. Anyway, so basically, his son died from cyanide poisoning 2 days after his death, Jorge's death, right? So basically, the timing of that makes me think like, okay, he had a heart attack, but something probably was not just a natural heart attack, considering his son was poisoned with cyanide just 2 days later.
Because if you're gonna kill the son, you got to choose like the most common like assassin way to kill someone with cyanide.
Yeah,
like what kid is going to just die of cyanide poisoning normally? Like how common does cyanide occur in a kid's life?
Yeah,
it's not like he ate like could have just like. I don't know how old the kid was. Like if he's like young enough, he could have just like shoved a toy in his throat. Like, oh, he choked.
Yeah. Oh, he choked. Yeah, maybe he was just a dumb kid and he choked. Yeah. But honestly, like I urge anybody who's listening now, just take a look at any of the big name whistleblowers from the last 4 decades, right? From the 1960s on, or anybody who might have had information that the Clintons didn't want them to know. I don't know. I'm making that up, but probably the Clintons. And they died of a heart attack at a young age, or they were very physically fit, had no history signs of heart disease, and they died of a heart attack. And just ask yourself, could that have been the heart attack gun? Could we ever know? We couldn't. We couldn't. It was designed that way. It was designed that way that you would never know. And that, my friends, is the scariest thing I've ever learned about the United States government, that there is currently and in the 1960s and 70s an actual weapon designed to give the victim a heart attack that is not traceable in any way, shape, or form.
If they came up with that in the 60s, can you imagine if they kept developing it to now? How good it could be?
They probably have, man. It's probably a laser at this point,
they could basically probably just have like a cancer gun, kill them slowly.
It's probably like, they probably just like have to like speak a magic word, I
mean, honestly, you can just shoot an X-ray at someone and gives you cancer.
Well, yeah, that's the long con way to kill someone. Like you shoot an X-ray, it's like, haha, gotcha. And then 30 years later, he gets cancer, and you're like, haha, just like I planned,
I mean, in a way, that's like the ultimate like suffering evil. Like I will give you like a terrible like suffering.
Yeah, but it wouldn't make you couldn't do that to shut somebody up,
I mean,
to keep
true,
them quiet.
but like that's just mean.
It's just it's cruel and unusual.
But like they could have just like a, I don't know, like a an aneurysm gun. People die of aneurysms all the time.
They might have an aneurysm gun.
If you think about it, like the brain's just electrical signals just shooting like an EMP kind of gun, and someone aneurysm dead.
Yeah, they probably have that. And I don't know when the last time was that Congress did an investigation into the CIA. It's probably been a long time. Maybe this was the last one in 1975. So we don't know what they've got now, and it could be used on anyone, including U.S. citizens. Because there's no way to trace it. There's no way to bring it back to them. There's no way to prove that the CIA is killing U.S. citizens that are talking things that don't need to be talked about in public, or as far as the government cares. But there's no way to prove that they aren't, because they have the capabilities. That's all I'm saying. Because
you know what does need to be talked about, and who didn't kill himself, was Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein.
He was did not commit suicide. He was killed.
He was not killed. He didn't die of a heart attack, though, so I don't think the CIA did that. But somebody, yeah.
I'm just bringing that back into light. That's our PSA for every episode.
Yep. Epstein did not kill himself.
Epstein did not kill himself.
And neither did many of these people who had heart attacks at young ages.
A funny meme I saw.
Meme.
So it relates to Jeffrey Epstein. So you know how it's getting close to Christmas season, and Target tends to put out all of the lettered stockings. Someone arranged them into Epstein did not kill himself on the shelf. It's so funny.
That's a good one. There was one I saw that was like a list of 10 things that people say incorrectly a lot, so like pacifically instead of specifically. And then one of like number 9 was like Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, and the correction is Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. It's good.
There was a dumb one where there's a bunch of doctors staring at a body with like a million knives in its back. Like, what do you think, doctor? Suicide.
That's where ABC gets their information from.
Oh my God.
Oh, zing.
Ooh. Oh my God. The memes are so good.
Yeah.
It's so funny. So we got like a couple more minutes left. I got a story if you want to hear it.
You can tell us. That was my mind sweeper for today. So I just wanted to get everyone thinking. Those are both 100% true. You can fact check me, and you will find that I'm telling the truth here. And the rest of it, you can kind of let your imagination run wild as to what the government planned to do with the bunkers, and what they are currently doing with their heart attack gun.
Giving people heart attacks.
Probably giving a lot of people heart attacks.
I'm gonna have one just thinking about it.
You know what? Since if we post this episode, I might die of a heart attack next week. I'm 25 years old. Might die of a heart attack. Who knows?
Wait. I'm 25 years old.
Oh no, that's the secret. It only works if you're 25 years old.
No, the celebrity age of death is 27.
That's true.
That's another conspiracy.
I've got a theory about Kurt Cobain.
Next time.
Courtney Love killed him. Anyway, go ahead.
Spoilers.
Well, a lot of people have thought that. Anyway, what's your story?
Oh no, we'll end. I'll save it as an opener for my episode next one.
Okay, so just to clarify, Kurt Cobain did not kill himself. All right, let's go.
Yeah, that's Jeffrey.